So my day begins. Glorious day. Again, they said on the forecast, gonna rain. Don't see no rain. All I see is lovely green and a trail. I haven't been up this trail for a while. I believe there might be a bunch of deadfall up here, so I shall do this one and clear out as much as I can, depending on what I find. If I don't find much, I'm in for a nice walk. Right, I shall head on my way. The sun has just literally broke the hill over there. Look at that. Isn't that nice? I will take that. Right, where I'm heading, it's up this way. Get some of these ankle busters off the trail. Most people turn right here. I've got around that way, which is why this other trail up here doesn't get much use. So I'm actually turning left. I'm going to go along this way. I only have one top layer on today, but I do have more with me. But it's that kind of just chilly enough to have an extra layer on, but you know you're going to get too warm as soon as you get going. So I will put this away until I get further up the trail and see what I can find. What a lovely day. Right, two small ones on the trail already. That one through the middle there. Anybody that follows my videos will know that that's Kananaskis. And I'm heading up this way. This corner up round here, we've found this overgrown many times. I'm going to trim some of these back. These things grow about 2 to 3 feet a year. So if I have a choice of moving a conifer off a trail or some of this fast growing bush, I always take the fast growing bush, because the conifers could take 30 years to grow to any decent size, whereas these things they'll close off a trail in one season. Be surprised how quickly it overgrows. Yeah. That's why I walk these trails. I do this most weekends. I've been doing this for the best part of 25 years now. People ask me why I do it. I enjoy doing it. Keeps the trails walkable, keeps them marked. The far end of this one, they did some logging last year before. It got the birds up in here getting all bent out of shape. Yeah, exactly. Not sure what that's all about, but whatever. Right, and get this last bit of glorious sunshine along here, and I have to turn right up into the forest. It'll get darker and colder pretty quick. Yeah. This corner here, this is a great corner for pictures. If I park in the bottom parking lot, I actually take that shortcut down across there. Yeah. But if that is not nice, I don't know what it is. That hill over there, that's Horton Hill. There isn't really, from this side, there isn't really much of a trail. It's kind of just a find your way up there kind of thing. So I don't really clear a trail up through there. I've cleared some brush at the bottom, but there's that nice little grass bank that you can see in the middle there. That thing's, yeah, it's just incredibly steep. Doesn't look steep from here, but I can tell you it is. And I've sat at the top of there before now and just watched the world go by, and I can tell you that is a very good corner, but a very steep corner. Right, unfortunately I will head out of the sunshine, head up the trail, which is this way. Right, I'll do some more as I go. Right, a bit of brush to cut out there. These are the kind of ones that you tend to find. These are very easy to move off trail, but these are the ones I like. Dead, rot and small. They're good. These ones are easy to move. Right, let me get that out of the way. And as if by magic, there it was. It's those ones like that, you're coming flying down here. People do use this as a bike path. Those big tall ones like that, unless it's actually going to fall on the trail, I don't even touch those. Those are good animal crossings. Squirrels like those. Yeah. Then get from one side to the other without coming down on the ground. But they like that. Right. Ooh, another small one on the side there. It looks like I can just pick that one up and turn that one round. Right, this trail gets a bit steeper here in a minute. Let's just have that one off the side of there. Done like dinner. There we go. Right, the little one up there. I'm just sure to pick that one up. Right, I've got a bit of uphill coming, so I'm going to be huffing and puffing up the hill, so I will put this away for a minute. There's a few small bits to cut out, but finally have a little bit of downhill. But this is a little bit of downhill before more uphill. How much water we've had down through here? Still soft. Yeah, just about make a boot break. At the top of this hill up here, the other year, where I found those very fresh bare footprints. So we'll keep an eye out. Isn't that great, eh? I'll take that. All the wildflowers are starting to come. There's loads of them there. I can see through the bushes here. Right. Yep, now more up. Fortunately, the up is almost finished. So I've stopped for a photography break, aka have a rest. Through that gap there, that's Mount Baldy. Over through there, that's Yates Mountain and Prairie View. That's a very popular hike. Prairie View on a day like today would be very, very busy. And all down through here. Now, all of this off to my side here, this was all clear cut not that long ago. But this is how it turns into. This is what it turns into, see. All the new trees are growing. This trail that I'm on is a perfect example of why when people create trails up in the mountains in places where they shouldn't be, they very quickly turn into rivers and gullies. Look how much this has turned into a gully. This is all just water that flowed down an old trail. This was an old trail years and years ago. You can see the way that the water gets in here and just chews it up. So they do become rivers. So you have to be a little bit careful. But, there are places like up at Rawson and what have you, where the people want to get up on the ridge and they're literally destroying the ridge, and it will turn into just rock. But as you can see, everything bad is something good. So on the side of here, where this is nice exposed soil, lots of sunshine later in the day. See all these nice young trees coming in, and these young trees, the roots will hold the banks together, and eventually nature will reclaim it. In the meantime, look at all this, the way the water just eats into this. We're not talking floods, this is just normal rainwater. Oh. Somebody should invent flat mountains, you know, because walking up here, it doesn't matter where I go. This camera, I know, does not do this hill justice. This is not quite on the balls of my feet hill, but not far off it. And for some strange reason, I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't know how that works, but I know I'm very nearly at the top. Oh, that view is nice, eh? Yeah. I'll have that off on the way down there. On the way back, I've just spotted one that needs to come off. That one there. People ride bikes down here, and if you do not want to come around the corner and go head on to the end of that, yeah, that would make for a bad day. Oh. But I happen to know that this is just about the top. Oh, that's good to be up that hill. Right, let me stand up on here. See all the flowers coming? This is all paintbrush. Beautiful flowers, that is. Right, so that nice lush green forest just ahead of me there. That was all clear cut a few years back. I'd say probably, looking at the height of those trees, probably 5 to 10 years ago. Now it's all turned into the lush forest. So I know it looks really bad when an area is clear cut. Trust me, I don't like to see it. However, most of this is grown as a crop, and I've said in many of my videos, if you just let the forest tumble down, it will just tumble down and eventually just turn into an enormous forest fire. You look at the debris over there, You know, that's what fires do. They clear out all that crap. However, people now want to live in the middle of forests, which creates problems. So it's best off left to nature. Let nature sort it. Yeah. But as you can see, this clearing all this out of here has created a very nice habitat down in the bottom. I know it's wet in the bottom of there. I have cut across here before now. There is a wet patch in the bottom of that. But look how quickly nature covers the forest. And it's all young forest too. These young trees, people say, you know, you're cutting down trees. You know, we need more trees for carbon sequestration and all that kind of stuff. And we do. Please plant lots of trees. As you can see, that's pretty good out across that way. Right. Oh, we got somebody else on the trail. Good grief. Not too often I see people on this trail. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? I shall stop and say hello. Right, so this is Mount Baldy again over on this side. I was just talking to a chap there, a guy called Shane. Nice to meet him and his dog there. And that hill over there is Baldy. This is forest, as you can see. This is all regrowing. And we got all the conifers in there, but we got the aspens growing in here too. So what'll happen is aspens are pioneer trees. They'll grow, they'll create a lot of shade and, more important, wind protection. And then all these other trees, all the conifers and that'll grow up in amongst them, and it all grows back. So that lot in there as a replant, looking at the height of those trees, I would say that was probably about 8 to 10 years ago. This was all cleared right out. So this would have been literally just bare ground 8 to 10 years ago. And now, as you can see, it's all really, really nice habitat and forest. Wildflowers everywhere. See, once you let the sun shine down to the ground, that's when it changes. There's a lot of old growth up on that side over there as well. But you always need a good mix of trees. You don't want to clear everything out. You need a good mix of trees. And as you can see, all these young aspens are growing. Look at all that lot in there. And that creates huge habitat. People do complain when they clear cut. I wish they would manage it a little bit better, especially with all the forest fires and that we have here. Look at all the butterflies and the bees. And yeah, I've seen a lot of bees up in here, which is a good sign. Yeah, all the wildflowers are coming. I don't know what these white ones are. I don't know what these are. Not sure what those are. They're like a whitish yellow. These are all paintbrush. Lots and lots of paintbrush up in here. Yeah. But as you can see, the forest is all regrowing. It's all taking shape. There is a major creek down in the bottom of there, but that's pretty damn steep to get down in there, I can tell you. All that height that I just gained, you've got to lose to get down to that creek. So, although I can hear the water very clearly from here, I wouldn't go down there because you've got to come back up. Yeah. So, yes, yeah, it was very nice talking to him. A guy called Shane. He's got the same passion for the mountains that I have, and it's always good to talk to people like that, because you find different trails and different places and different information and things. And yeah, right, there's a little bit more brush up in here I need to just trim back, and then I will carry on my way. What a glorious day. Look at this. I will take more of this. Right, I'm going to head that way and just clear a bit more of these small branches out. Right, that hopefully, if my memory serves me correctly, is all the up done. Yeah, just up here is where I found all those bear tracks out of here. Now a lot of people, if they're coming up around this way, they turn this into a loop hike and they will turn this way. They'll go that way. However, there is a sign here which is about as much use. I mean, what use is this? Like, really, seriously? And this map is so off scale, it's not funny. It's just a complete and utter waste of time, this map. Yeah, it's part of the Trans-Canada Trail, so you would think that it should be better maps, but this map is actually garbage. So if you look on here, you can say, yeah, you're there. Right, you're by this river in the middle of this expanse of aluminium. Yeah, great, now we're completely useless. See, most people go that way, and I believe that's where Shane and Dalton is heading on that way. But I'm not, I'm heading this way. And just up here, on the top of this hill, the other year is when I found those very fresh bear tracks. So I'm just going to have a look. Some horse tracks. I did see some horse crap on the way up here too. But I'm just going to head up. There's an old campground thing up here that's pretty messed up now because of all the logging and stuff, but it'll all regrow, like I say. It all turns into this everything over on this side was also regrowth from years and years ago. If you listen, there's a nice creek in the bottom. I actually cross that creek in a minute. But down the bottom of this hill, now I have to go down. Let me kick that out. Okay. Bears will quite often turn over the big rocks looking for grubs and stuff underneath. So if you see big rocks that have been turned upside down, it usually bears and stuff. Right, this is a bit rocky down here. So if you suddenly get a really good picture of the sky, you know things didn't work out so well. There's a lot of this round river rock down through here, which I don't like walking on. I usually select a trail and I will actually kick the rocks like that one. I'll actually kick them off the trail. But, they're angle busters. You bust an angle out here, that's not very pleasant. You somehow got to get back. That's not good. Now, a couple of years ago down the bottom of this hill, there was a massive tree which I couldn't cut. I did cut all the branches off it just to make it walkable, but I couldn't cut that one. That was too big for me. There was a small one right by it, so I cut that one out. Just made it easy for people to get across. Right, I'll do some more in a minute once I get round to the bridge. Right, this is the one I was on about. This little one I cut out of here the other year, and this really big one I didn't. Thankfully somebody did. Yeah, this corner, you've got to watch this corner, because this is I've had bears in this area. There is a trail that goes that way, but it does go, as you can see, it's very overgrown. It doesn't really go anywhere of any great significance at the moment because it's pretty wet up in there, so I try to avoid up in there if I can. But down in here, this is that water that you could hear in the distance there down the valley. This is the water. Unfortunately, there is a very nice bridge here. Look at that. That is a nicely made bridge. It's only a couple of 6x6s, well, 3 6x6s I guess. Look at that. I always like to stop and look at the mud like this because you can see what else is up in here. And this is where you'll find interesting animal tracks. And so far all I can see is some horses. So that's good. Look at that though. Isn't that nice? That is very nice. I'll take that. Yeah. This is what I call a nice bridge. Yeah. This area gets very, very wet. You just trim those off of there. There we go. Get those off of there. Yep. Big step down off that end. Let's check the mud. See what else is here. Nothing as far as I can see. But that's a good bridge design, eh? Very simple. Anchored to the ground, bit of wire. Done. 6x6s. They're probably about 20-30 feet, I guess. But, there you go. Right. Now up through here, this very nice trail actually turns into a bit of a mess in a minute because this is where they logged all up through here. So I know there's a bunch of garbage in here to cut out, so I will trim those up and do some more in a minute. That's a nice river crossing, eh? Right. Right. I've come out to where I was heading to, and this is going to be my stop for a cup of tea point. Yeah. Fortunately they left this bit of the forest. It's close to a water source. There's a really nice water source down through there. Many years ago this was actually an abandoned campground, and as you can see the benches and that are still in here. I have had fire pits in here before now. You can see some other people have as well, but one of these benches was missing. I found it down in the forest over there, so I recovered that, and now it is, as you can imagine, a cup of tea time. So I will set this up over here, and I'm going to go and sit on that very nice bench over there and have a nice cup of tea. I didn't bring a stove in that, but we still have a fire. Not a ban, a restriction. I'm just not allowed wood fires, otherwise I'd have a campfire and make tea. But yeah, well, I bought my flask with me today. And we'll have some of the magic brew. and sit and enjoy this. Listen to the birds, eh? Isn't that nice? Nice to get that pack off too. That's not a very heavy pack, that's my light pack. Get the kit belt off for a while. So. Oh, that is good. Yeah, I can't do my cup of tea feet in front of the fire shop with a cup of tea because I don't have a fire. So whichever, we'll take that as that. Oh. Now, if this doesn't make like a good day, I don't know. I've been marking out a trail up through here because they clear cut all through here, and there was a very nice trail, very well defined trail through here many years ago, and it isn't now. It's just an overgrown clear cut area. So I've been marking a bit of the trail through here, and I'm going to continue up that way. That valley over there, if you follow that valley all the way through, it'll take you out the back of Powderface Trail if you keep going, but another 8 to 10 kilometers that way it'll take you out on Powderface Trail. So I'm not going to walk all the way across to Powderface because I did that end of the trail. I did about 5 kilometers of that end of the trail the other week. So this week I'm doing this way, just easier than walking all the way through. There's one part of the forest over there that's it's horrible because the water has all eaten away what was the trail, and it's just walking up a very steep hill on basically river rock. So I don't like that piece of the trail. So this is as far as I'm coming today. I'm just going to go up across that clearing over there and make sure that that's marked over that way, and then I will do that. But this is a good place to have tea, eh? Yeah, let me show you around. I'll go down to the water there in a minute. Look, and as you can see, it's a very nice spot, and because it's a nice spot and I have tea in my hand, I will put my feet up in front of the would be a fire if we didn't have a ban. Get rid of that mosquito, and cheers people, time for tea. Now I was sitting here probably about 3 or 4 years ago when this was all still forest up behind me, and just through those trees there, literally just through those trees, black bear walked right across, down across, had a drink through the creek at the bottom here. There's a very nice creek in the bottom here, and then down through the valley where I showed you where there used to be a trail many years ago. They tend to come out down through there. They go down the basically the south side of the trail. I come up the river, I come up the north side of the river. That there's certain places that I know that you can quite often see bear and stuff, and I tend to avoid those places because the less people in there, the less chance there is of a interaction, and also it's their home, it's where they live, you know. They don't want to be pestered by people all day long. So, but as you can see, this used to be a nice little site. I don't know who built these benches, they're very nicely done, yeah, but these have been here for a very long time, these benches. Not sure who made these. Yeah, they work, yeah. If they ever fall to pieces, I will make some new ones for up here. But there's only some 2x12, and somebody's cut it up and made some very nice benches. Many years ago, you'd find a lot of people coming up here and doing the horse camps. Now, I did see some horse tracks on the way up here. Some people do still use it, I guess. But generally speaking, it's only people like me. Because as you walk up along that trail, or what was the old logging road, which seems to have become the trail, you can't see into this forest. It's pitch black in here. From the outside, it's pitch black. You can't see nothing. So people wouldn't venture into here. But it's actually quite nice. Nice benches. Look. You know, I don't know who made them, but I will certainly take that. Makes for a nice bench. Yeah. I brought my big saw with me today. I haven't had to use it. The big one there, it tends to live in my pack. I tend to carry that thing around more than I actually use it. But if that's not a nice little spot, I don't know what is. It's good, eh? Yeah. Oh. And that, I have to say, because I know the guy that made it, that's actually a very good cup of tea. Not that I'm biased at all, because I make good tea. Yeah. Look at this. I can remember sitting here in a bloody rainstorm and thunderstorm coming through, and at that time it was all tall forest like this, and it then becomes a decision: do you walk out through the thunderstorm, or do you just stay put? So I stayed put for a while, thinking it would clear out, and it didn't. It just kept sparking and banging, and that was it. Had no choice. Time to bail out. So yeah. In a minute, I'll once I've got my gear and that back on, I'll head down to the creek down the bottom here, and I'll show you the water source. It's actually quite nice. It's actually not a bad spot at all. Right, that'll do for the moment. I'm not sure if I lost the last part of that video or not. GoPros seem to have this thing, every now and again they'll just lock up. None of the buttons do anything, so I'm not sure whether I lost that. I will do my sausage roll in front of the fire. Cheers, people. Yeah. I should check that and see whether I got that bit of video. Yes, I did actually lose that piece of video. I think the battery might have been a bit low as well. So that previous piece of video was me having a very nice cup of tea. However, I missed my cup of tea piece of video, so I don't know whether that's just a good excuse to have another cup of tea or what. So I'm going to have another cup of tea. So cheers, people. Hopefully this piece of video will come out. I've got my feet in front of the fire, which we're not allowed at the moment because we still have this fire advisory on, although this forest is absolutely soaked. Should anything happen here, there's no firefighters. All the firefighters are somewhere else. They're all over the country at the moment. As you've probably seen on the news, we're having some issues with firefighters at the moment. Oh, there's some seriously bad fires. Very bad fires. It's been a bad fire season. However, that is what happens. Fires do rip through forests and then they regrow, and hey presto, that's the cycle. It continues to go. But it's when structures and people get into trouble it becomes a really big problem. Yeah, that tree there is a large dead standing pine, which is absolutely riddled with holes, so you know that there's something living up there. So I will enjoy my second cup of tea. I think that's actually a good excuse for a second cup of tea. I'm going to have to start doing that, crashing the video at the cup of tea point. That way I get 2 cups of tea. What an amazing, that's a good plan, eh? So feet up in front of the fire, cup of tea, we will call that good. I did this just now for the video, but it didn't save. Unfortunately, sometimes GoPros will do this. They'll just go into wacky who knows mode, and then nothing actually works. And it doesn't matter what you push in buttons. I don't know if there's some secret technique that you can do or whatever. A few years ago, I was sitting here, and just out on that grass where the sun is, black bear walked straight down through there. There's a nice water source down at the bottom. In a minute, as I leave here and head out, I'll take a walk down there and show you that. And I think that's where the bear was going, and then they walk down the south side of the river there and come out on that trail where I said it's all overgrown. They tend to come out on that corner. So I come up the north side of the river, they tend to go down the south side of the river, which is good. And it keeps humans and bears apart, and it's their home. They live here. They need peace and quiet the same as we do. Right, I will call that it for a second. Right, I'm going to say goodbye to the campsite for a second. As you can see, it's quite a nice little spot, eh? It's not bad. Yeah, bit of a weird place to find, but it's certainly not bad. Right, I'm going to walk down through this way, make a bit of noise. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine! Just in case, because like I say, this is an area I have seen many bears in the past, and I did see one walk literally right through here. I'll show you exactly where he went through. He walked right through, right about here. And you can actually camp in here. I mean, it is a backcountry campsite, although it's abandoned now. Because the bottom end of here, down in this bottom bit, it can get mighty wet down in here. I can see a load of that horsetail down in here. There is a nice water source down through here. And, see if I can find it. I have camped out this way before, and it's actually quite nice. Yeah, it's down in the bottom here somewhere. You can see it's a bit of a weird place to get in and out of. Loads of this horsetail in here, which tells you it sits wet as hell. I can hear water. And where are you? Ah, here we go. Yes. Loads of this horsetail down in here. As you can see, there's a Dave bridge. Very nice. Not that you'd need a bridge to get across this, you just step over it. But it is flowing water. Actually, last time I was here, it's probably twice as much as that. It has been very dry though lately. Like I say, we've had some rain in the last little bit, but nothing like we normally have this time of year. We are way down on what we would normally have. Let's get out of here. Head back up into the clearing. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Always make noise before you walk into a clearing, because you never know what's in it. Yeah. Oh, got some cloud building over there, but you can actually camp down in here. As you can see, it's a reasonable area. It does sit a little wet. Anytime you see these big leaves like this, you know it sits a bit wet. This used to be a nice little driveway piece out of here, like a walkway up through here, and then back onto a very nice forest trail. However, there is no forest trail anymore because it all got logged out. Those chairs and stuff are over in there, and this piece I'm walking up now was kind of like a piece of a road, if you like. It almost was a road at one point coming up in here, but as you can see now it's not, so you have to kind of find your way in and out of here. My kit belt is not sitting right, so need to adjust that. Oh. So I will do that just up here. Right. As you can see, they threw a whole bunch of logs, and this was a road down into here, and this was the campsite. But as you can see, it's a bit of a mess now. Either way, it's still a good place to be. Right, I'm going to head out that way once I've sorted all my kit out, and do some more in a bit. Right, kit belt adjusted. I'm going to head out back onto what is kind of a trail. Like I say, this is the old abandoned campsite. There is a water source down at the bottom of there. I've just been down in there, there's not much water in it. Let's go under there. Okay, this was the road, this piece. But as you can see, a whole bunch of logs and stuff got thrown in here. So let me get back out onto what was the trail. We're called out of what was, because there ain't much of a trail now. Yeah. Trying to avoid, it's very difficult to walk through here without walking on the flowers. I'm trying to avoid the flowers. Yeah. Back onto what was the trail. You can see these trees that are cut off like 6 to 8 feet. That marks the trail, allegedly. But as you can see, that's a trail marker. Can you see a trail? Me neither. So what I'm going to do is hop over all this lot, get back out here onto what was the logging road, and I strongly suspect that this will become the new trail. I don't know why you'd walk through that lot when there's a perfectly good piece across here. Got some cloud building over that way. So, yes, so if you ever wonder where that is, it's in there. Yeah, it used to be a lot more visible, I can tell you. But it's really overgrown in there now. You've got to climb over crap to get into it. Right, I'm going to continue on this way, and hopefully this camera doesn't keep dying. Right, something I will bring up. When this was all forest, and I used to walk through here many times, all you could see was forest. And now they've cleared the trees. That's a nice view, eh? So it's a double-edged sword. There's good and bad and everything. The trail's beginning to take a bit more shape. The road through the bottom there, they've reclaimed it, but there is a very nice trail beginning to develop along on the side of here. Kananaskis straight ahead of me there. So this is my plan, is to just mark it out a bit, make sure it's completely blatantly obvious, and the more people that use it, the better it becomes marked. As you can see, this piece is really easy. But before, when this was all forest, all you could see was forest, and now I can see all that. So it is a double-edged sword. Look at all the wildflowers and that growing down in there. All these flowers and stuff all coming up. All great habitat for bees and all kinds of bugs. And when this was thick, dense forest, none of this would have been grown in here. Yeah, it's amazing how nature recolonizes. All these red things on the ground here, these little look like strings. These are actually strawberries. They're wild strawberries. But chances of ever finding any to pick and eat is pretty few and far between, because I can tell you the wildlife likes strawberries too. Yeah. This is clearly becoming the trail. There's a couple of little wet bits like this I've seen across, but there are some rocks in here, so that's good. I'll cross those. Water in the landscape is very, very important. But look at that. When this was forest, you wouldn't have been able to see any of that. So, double-edged sword. I like to see the views as well. And this is a trail that not a lot of people use, because this is actually part of the Trans-Canada Trail, believe it or not. This is the Trans-Canada Trail. But not a lot of people use it. Look at all the wildflowers in there. Roses, dandelions. Not sure what the yellow things are, but there's an abundance of those. But as you can see, this is a piece of the old trail. Yeah. So the old trail is kind of fragmented. But when you get to this point, as you're heading across here, basically if you look across this open cut area, if you're kind of heading in the general direction of Kananaskis Mountain, which is that nice big flat wall mountain in front of you there, as long as you're heading roughly towards there, you're going in roughly the right direction. So I will continue on up this way and do some more of it. Right, this is probably the halfway point along Lusk Creek Trail. And it's somebody asked me, and one of the reasons I come up here today is somebody asked me, they came along here on a bike ride. I'm just trimming off some of these ends, and they got to the big opening out here and didn't know which way to go, but I'm not sure why they were having trouble, because the to me it looks pretty self-evident, but whatever. So just give you a heads up, come down through here. I'm going to trim a few more of these little these are fast growing plants on the side here, so I don't mind trimming these back. Like I was saying earlier, if I have a choice between cutting some of these off and a conifer, I'll take the fast growing stuff every time, because conifers take a long time to grow. This stuff grows like a weed, so I don't mind trimming some of this off. Keeps the path walkable too, because if it becomes completely overgrown and you're literally fighting your way through brush all the time, especially if it's been raining, that's not pleasant at all. So I will trim off some of these ends. So you get to here, and before they cut the trees, this would have been all dense forest down through here, so you wouldn't have been able to see anything. But since they cleared it out a bit, just take those off of that. Since they cleared it out a bit, you get to here and you now actually have spectacular views. Look at that. I mean, you know, it's not Mount Everest or anything like that, but let me tell you, it is some pretty nice views. Yes, they got to the far side of here apparently. They got to the clear cut, as they described it, and weren't really sure which way to go. Well, I'm not sure why, because there is actually a reasonably well worn trail across here now. That's why I'm just trimming off these ends, because anytime you see cut ends, you know it's a fairly well used trail. So once you get to this point, this is the beginning of the clear cut. There is a trail that follows this into another little piece of forest just ahead of me, and you follow it through there. From the other side of there is a little vague, so I'm going to mark that up. I'm going to build some cans across there, and it's and at the exit there where you have to turn off back onto the other trail, that seems a bit hit and miss as well, so I will mark that up a little bit better. Right, so once you get to here, basically Kananaskis Mountain is right ahead of you, right in the middle of the shot. You are literally going to head that way. As long as you keep going that way, you can't go too far wrong. So I will do a bit more trimming along here, and I'll build some cans when I get down to the other side. Cloud's starting to build, so it's probably time I started to head out. But wind's getting up too. It's lovely wind. I don't know if you can hear that. That is a beautiful breeze through here. Yeah. Right, I'm going to head out across this open bit again, and I'll do some more on the way. Right, let's sped that bit up because it's kind of boring. It's fairly self-explanatory. Now the trail starts to taper out here. Maybe this is where they were having problems, I don't know. Because it kind of goes down here and back onto part of the reclaimed road. It's forestry road here. You can see that brown line through the bottom there. That's where they reclaim the roads. But as you can see, I mean, in terms of views, this is actually pretty scenic walk through here now, whereas it used to be very dense forest and you couldn't really see anything, and most people never came this way because literally it just goes from one place to another. It's called the connector for a reason, and it's the Lusk Creek connector, and it never really went anywhere. It wasn't really much of a walk, but I can tell you now it's actually quite pleasant. So you walk down through here. I saw that one guy earlier, Shane, walking his dog, but he was heading back around the other way, what I call the touristy kind of walk area. Goes up through there. There's a lot of scenic stuff up through there, so people tend to go that way. This way tends to be a little bit harder to find. So when you get to here, as you can see, there isn't much of a trail. I mean, it's only because I know where I'm going. Yeah, that stand of trees over there, that's where that little old abandoned campsite was. So basically what I'm going to do, the more people that walk it, the more defined it becomes. So the actual trail would have been off to the right here somewhere, but I suspect that this will now become the trail, because you can see that there's horses and that been through here. Horses find the easy route. Off to my right is where they've marked the trees for the trail, and I'm pretty sure that's actually where the original trail used to go. But as you can see, this is a much better route, easier to walk, way easier to walk. And it's all this mess that you see here. This is what they do when they reclaim the road. They basically just dig it all over, cover it all up, and it all grows back through, and it's quite amazing how quickly the plants and everything all grow. The butterflies, I have seen so many butterflies down through here. Absolutely hundreds of them. See that one on there? That's nice. I don't know what that is. I don't know the names of any of these butterflies. They're just nice. So, but as you can see, this kind of lends itself to a trail. It's not overly defined, but it's certainly better than walking through all that garbage up there to my right. So I think this will probably become the new trail. Yeah. Down through here on my left is where that what's the name site was, the old campsite. A bit tumbled down in there now. So I'm just going to build another cairn here on this corner. There's a nice big slab of rock there already, so I'm going to find some more and stack them up, and it just makes it easier for people to follow. See, there's that nice rock there, so I'm just going to build a cairn on there and make it a bit more obvious. Right, one very easy to spot marker. That's how I prefer to do markers. I'm not overly keen on putting up tape, but sometimes you have to put up a bit of tape every now and again. I prefer to do it that way. It actually looks quite good. We'll do that. Right, basically what you're going to do when you get to here is just walk down the gap. You've got to follow this old road piece down through here for a bit. This is all just reclaim the road, but I strongly suspect this will become the new trail, because it's certainly much easier to walk through than that. So let's start defining this as a trail. Where you're going to head is basically straight across through that gap right in front, and I'll do some more when I get over there. I'll show you this on the way over. I found this little bottle up there. It has a pencil and a piece of paper in it and some people's names on it. A trail log, I guess. I've added my name to that. There's 2 or 3 names in there already, so people have obviously spotted it. As you can see, the clouds starting to come in. It's heading this way, so I'm heading that way. As you can see, walking across this piece is a little bit hit and miss. You kind of just follow it. A trail is appearing, as they always do. Yeah. So and the more people walk it, the more visible it becomes. There's a couple of little wet patches to cross, but they are literally just step overs. Yeah. So the more people that walk across it, the piece I find tricky is this end where you turn back into the forest. I'm going to see if I can build a decent sized cairn there, because the logging road actually continues, and you can see it in the distance there. It curves up around the corner. You do not want to go that way. Yeah, you're going to turn off just by there. So that'll get you back onto the trail. If you go up around that corner, you find yourself at a dead end in the middle of nowhere. So that would be one place. It would be very easy to end up in the wrong spot. So I will correct that on the corner. I can see where you turn off because I've done this trail. I couldn't tell you how many times. But it's a bit more of a mess now that they've dug it all up. But that corner you can see in the distance going up around the corner. You do not go that way. You turn left just before there. But I will build a marker when I get there. Now this is the end of the trail that becomes a little bit vague when you get to the other side of this clear cut. I have put some markers, a bit of tape in the tree over there. So I'm going to see if I can build a decent marker here on the corner where you turn off. So it looks like you can kind of go that way straight on. Don't. You're actually going to turn here. That piece of tape I put there earlier stands out really well actually. So we'll see if I can build something here just to make it a bit more obvious as to where you go. Yeah. Although I think once you get to here, you've just crossed that big open space there, and once you get to here, I think if I just put a bit of tape on this big tree here, that'll be self-evident, I should think. I don't need to do much more than that. Let me just put a bit of tape on this tree here. Right, so you would have just come across the open area that way. Just basically follow that piece of road around, and it's actually not too bad. There's a well-established trail beginning to come through there. When you get to here, don't go straight on up that way. You can see a big single tree on the corner. I've put a couple of bits of tape here on this corner. It stands out really well. Once a trail is more established and people know where it is and stuff, I'll take the tape down. And other than that, it's pretty easy to follow. Yeah. And then once you're onto this piece, there's lots of cut ends and stuff that you can see along here. I cut a few of these out the other year. And then you're back onto the original trail. That piece there stands out very well. You're back onto the original trail, which takes you down through the forest, and from here it's just plain sailing. So once you get to here, that's what you're up against. You're going to cross the middle of that lot, up through a couple of clearings and a couple of little bits of wood, and then down through here. That's a nice dead standing tree, look at that. Yeah, that's a bug hotel as I call them. It'll be full of insects. Right, I'm going to continue down this way and get back into the shade a bit. It's actually warming up. I need a drink of water. You don't go too far down into the trail there before you come across the nice bridge again. This is such a handy place for a bridge, it really is. I'll just trim that one off of there. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. What a great place for a bridge. Ooh. There we go. What a great sound. Love that sound, eh? Amazing. You get those logs that fall across there, and it creates like a little dam, and all the material gets washed up against it. Then it becomes like a little tiny miniature waterfall. But what that does is it aerates the water as it goes down through there, all those little things. The logs in the water give the bugs and all the other stuff that lives in there somewhere to hide. That wet area that I was showing you earlier, this is what drains out of that wet area. So trust me, it is pretty darn wet up in there. Right, I will do some more in a bit. Now this is what 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whichever, that area that just walked through, that completely open, clear-cut area, this is what it will look like. So people think, you know, it takes a long time, but in terms of forest, you know, forests are hundreds and hundreds of years in cycles. Human lifespan is, you know, 100 years at best. A generation is actually considered 30 years. But yes, we think it takes a long time to regrow, but that piece I just walked through, that big open clear area, not too long from now, it will look just like this. Yeah, it's one of those things. I can tell you now, where I'm walking through. Let me just cut that off. People snap off branches when they're coming through. I'd rather cut them off nice and clean. It's got a nice clean cut, you get less infection in the tree, or less chance of infection in the tree. But where I'm walking through now, off to my left hand side and down the valley a bit, in the Second World War there was actually an internment camp there. There was actually a prison camp there. And at that time there was just about no trees up through that part of the valley. It was all cleared out. And now you look down through there, it's all thick forest. Look at this. Isn't that nice? And I can tell you, on the far side of that hill over there, I can see where the old logging road was. There was a logging road that came in there, and then it went up through that valley on that side. Somewhere up in there, the Daffrins will be able to tell you exactly where, there's the wreckage of an aeroplane. And during the war they used to use this for flight training and that down through here. And the only thing I can think of is maybe they had a plane come down during the war. I've tried looking it up, documentation and stuff, can't find nothing. But that valley up through there, you can go up through that valley, up along that ridge to the right there, and you kind of follow it along, and that takes you up along to a place called Hunchback Hills, which is also a very nice hiking trail, but it's a bit bushwhacking this end. But if you like kind of route finding and all the rest of it, there's some amazing little places up in there, but it's a little bit steep in places. As you can see, it's amazing, isn't it? Look at this, absolutely stunning. Right, the flowers have opened, literally. Some of these flowers have opened since I went up the trail. As soon as the sun hits them, they all open up. But these old logs are very important, full of bugs. Yeah, it's where the bugs live. But that's a nice bit of ground up through there. I can see the creek runs down through the mountain there. Yeah, but that is a nice walk up through there. Right, I'm going to continue on down this way. I think there was one tree down here I just want to lop the end off. I think that was pretty much about it. Very nice day indeed. I have to say the walk back down this trail is much nicer than the walk up it. Simply because it's mostly downhill. I'm just going to stop and look at that. Isn't that nice? I can see a place down there. There's a place that I like to go. If you look in some of my older videos, there's a place called Contemplation Rock, and I can actually see the hill. I know where it is over that way. That's all looking out over the valley. That's the Bow Valley down there, and this is a very nice forest. Look at it, lovely, isn't it? Clouds beginning to build though. But there's that piece down there, just one sticking out head height and pointing in onto the trail. Just going to cut those off. I like to cut those off because if you come down here fast on a bike, you really don't want to be hitting that head on. That'll be bad. So I'm just going to take that one off, and I'll do some more when I get down the bottom. There we go, done and dusted. These are the ones that kind of stick out in the trail. You come around a corner on a bike, whap, straight into the end of that. Not a good plan. Right, and this is a fairly fast downhill piece as well. You come down here a bit quick, by the time you realise you'll be either sitting on the end of a tree or laying on the ground. Either of those two things is not good. Right, on I go. And here I am, back at the beginning, just about to turn down onto the trail here. As you can see, the sun has come up. That's considerably warmer. No, normally I'd cut down across there, but I think I will use that as my closeout shot. This is the Lusk Trail connector. I did the far end the other week, and I've done this end this week, and all in all, it's a nice little trail. Good views, nice walk. It's an in and out really. It doesn't really go anywhere. I think the whole trail is about 11-12 kilometers from one end to the other. It doesn't really go anywhere, it's just a connector. But it actually makes for a nice little walk if you want to walk around the forest and stuff. This is actually very nice. So I will call that it for now. Thank you for coming along, and I'll see you on the next one.